Hey everybody, this is Pete from Paw Labs, and you can kind of see what I've been doing. This is the third in the video series. Um, let's see. I have my little character here. He can climb up a ladder and down a ladder and go to the northeast and east and west, and he's running a sprite sheet on our grid, just like the explosions, which actually are still here as well. And we can do this and do that. So, what we're going to do is walk through this and show you all how it got done. So, first and foremost thing I had to go do was track down the graphics. And I'll be completely honest, I have absolutely no earthly idea where I got these graphics from, but they're pretty cool. Actually, I had several sets of these sorts of graphics. And let's see, I've included them here in our lovely little cat guy. And it needs a whole bunch more. I mean, there's jumping, there's 12 of each animation. So you have them jumping and flying through the air and start jump and end jump and sliding. And I went ahead and created another whole set of walking left versus walking right. So here's all our sprites. So it's not a sprite sheet, they're all individual. So I didn't feel like building it all as a big sprite sheet. And actually, these are interesting in that they're not all the same size. Some of these are bigger, some of them are wider, depending on the animation he's doing. These that are down here where he's sliding in and stuff, those are really wide graphics, but not tall. So they don't really lend themselves that much to a sprite sheet, but that's kind of an irrelevant factor. So let's see where to begin. Okay, so I went ahead and created a new character animation. And the reason for that was that I wanted to track on the hold on the frames themselves. What is the action that they're doing? The easiest way for the way my brain works was to load these guys was to create a type field. And the type field, if we come up to the top of this, these are all the animations that this guy has. He's got walk right, walk left, upstairs, downstairs, ladder, idle, jump, start, land and jump, idle, start, or slide, start, slide, and end. So there's 12 each. And so, and they're numbered 0 to 11 each. So, um, the easiest way for me to load that in was to use this, and this is the outer loop since there's 12 each, and go 0 to 11 and then come down and, you know, load them all in the grid. So what I did want to do was rename a few of them. So the walking, I actually, that they're out there as walk and walk L. So I wanted that walk right and walk left. So in the actual animation, it's walk right and left. So pretty much the rest of them I just took as is. So this few lines of code actually handles the whole load of all the frames that needed to be loaded. Now this is set up exactly the same as the other animations, where I have the character animation, so char animation, and he's got really all the same fields. And then I have the char frame that has action ID and sprite. So it's literally the same thing. Probably could have managed with the other one, but I wanted to be different. My thought is that most games that you have, you're going to have 4 or 5 characters for the person to be able to use. Maybe he's got a robot, a boy, a girl, a cat, a dog, or whatever the character happens to be. And they can choose which one they want to be in playing the game. So the static aspect of it would be that all of the characters have to have animations. However, whatever the number is, it has to be mirrored between all of your characters have to have the same animations. Now, the other thing I wanted to do here was to use the keyboard as a joystick. Normally, this would be programmed with a joystick. Actually, I do possess a joystick, and PureBasic does have the code for using joysticks, but I can't guarantee everybody watching this has a joystick. And so I wanted it to be everybody can play with this hands on and see how things work. So I built a poor man's from code joystick. Now, let's come through the main script here because it hasn't really changed that much. I think you'll be pretty impressed with how little it changed. So just as before, we created our character and our character animation object, our module that we have out there. I kept everything else in here. I had to add a couple extra variables up here. So I keep track of the current frame and I keep track of the current action. And then we have C action. Now, C action is the action that is derived from the arrow keys. So if you're pushing the up arrow key, the C action would be to climb the ladder. The down arrow key would be to climb the ladder but go down on the screen. Right and left kind of makes sense unto themselves. If you hold the left and up or the left and down, it climbs the stairs up or down. And he does the same with up and right. Now, I really don't have all the graphics for this in there. I would need to go out there and make some more copies of graphics to make all of that work. And there's no gun shooting, there's no fighting, there's none of that. This is just a character walking along. So that's what those variables are for. I took out the static load of the animation since we really don't use them. That was just there to show you how to load it when you start up. One of the other things, excuse me, that I need to point out is the character animation, whereas with the explosion in the wormhole, we're running those at a speed of 80 milliseconds a frame. The cat is actually walking at a 20 millisecond, so it's much, much, much faster. That's why he looks a little funny when he's standing idle because he's kind of like got the jitters. Maybe he drank too much coffee, or maybe he's just antsy to go chase a mouse or something. And so, but other than that, he walks pretty good, and everything else seems to work out pretty nice. So scrolling down, all of this is perfectly identical. There's no changes to any of this code. Now, here we're getting to the first thing of change. And what I did was I took out the actual lines of code that the original help code was in when you played with your player and the mouse was captured. Remember, inside this loop here is where the mouse is captured by the game screen. We don't really have that situation. Here, the mouse is free moving in and out. If you click to make an explosion or a wormhole, I make sure that you are on the game screen, but that's about it. So he had a whole bunch other code in here that was commented out, and I just deleted it. So here's where we're going to start to work on the coded joystick, okay? So we're doing the same basic things. We, at the very top up here, we have examined the keyboard. So right in front of the getting the current time. So we know on this frame, remember this is, you have to put yourself in frame mode. This isn't an ongoing thing. This is this instant in time. And so for this instant in time, did they click the up key? If they click the up key, I'm going to move his position by a -1, and the action is going to be ladder. Okay, so that is setting where the animation begins and ends for going up. So while the up key is pressed, that animation will continuously run forever until you let go of the key. If you hold the down key, we're going to do the ladder, but I'm going to add one to his Y position. So same basically, initially he was walking backwards. The last thing I did to this was flip him over and make him walk correctly. So we have the walking left, walking right, and then if you have at the same time X and Y as a +1, both of them are pressed, then you're going to go upstairs. And if you have negative and negative, you're going to go downstairs. So I guess I didn't code the other left and down and left and up or whatever. So, but anyhow, you can play with those. And if nothing is selected, then you get the basic sit idle. So he sits there and taps his toe and looks bored. So once we've identified for the frame what you've done, we then modify the character's position. Okay, so that's all we're doing. Then the screen flips. We clear the screen. We come down here and we say, okay, let's, this is still same stuff. The explosion code is right here. I've just collapsed it. It's all exactly the same, untouched. I added this new block here, starting with here. I'll go ahead and mark it a little better. So we've added this guy in here to say, okay, if the current action does not equal the action from the keys that you just pressed in this frame. And the idea here is that we want to run the animation from frame 0 to 11 and then repeat. If you keep the key down and it's continuously down, I don't want to reset the frame count back to 0. I want to keep counting that frame. So only on a change of action do we come in here and reset the frame count to -1, and we also reset the current action to whatever the new action is. So we drop into this is no longer a loop. I'm no longer looping through a list of static items. This is an ongoing that's going to run forever. So we're going to sit here and say, okay, our current frame is current frame +1. We're going to keep counting that forever. When we get to 11, when it gets over 11, we're going to start it off on -1. So the next loop through, he's 0, and then he's 1. And it goes on and on and on and on. So we have our current timer. That's static. That's all the same as we had up there. We only change when the frame timer has exceeded our speed. Then we actually will change frames. So this is literally all the same that you have already had. And then at the very end, we flip buffers and we start the whole process to the next frame. So that is how this works. It really isn't that much code. It's actually pretty impressive for what it's doing. And So here, I'm going to go ahead and run this again. Let me think of what else I've put in here. Uh, we have the build character, which I've already walked you through. Um, so he's 90% the same as the other one as well. Um, let's see. Yeah, that's about the whole thing. So there's not a lot of difference once you get into the whole animation concept and you get into the thinking of the frame. So regardless of what your cursor is doing in your program from a standpoint of menus and toolbars and making options in the control panel, this little guy down here, if it ever comes up, there we go. He is going to be sitting here running forever. I can come over here on, come on, mouse. There we go. Let's get the mouse over here on the right. So we have the mouse over here on the right, and the guy doesn't care. He's still going through his loop, okay? So if I push my left key, off he goes to the left. So if I push the right key, off he goes to the right. Probably ought to make that a +2, not a -1 minus. So, and there he goes. He's, whoops, climbing up. Looks like he maybe has a frame or two out of kilter. But there he is climbing down. And now let's go ahead and take him on the staircase. Oh, he's going up to the right. Did I do it this way? No, he's going to walk to the right and go left. What about you? There he goes. He's going downstairs now. I can see that. So that is the cheating man's mouse or the joystick via code. And you're getting the whole illusion of the character walking along and doing his thing. So that pretty much rounds out this video. Maybe I can play with building a shmup or something, a shoot 'em up. Like I said, this should get you up and running. Thanks for your time.